You know, her eyes were huge before, but now they just look too small. I mean, maybe I got used to it or something, I don't know. The string of awesome heroes that IS has been giving us for free, it just keeps on going. I love this. Eliwood is a really good unit, fits in very well, has similar stats to Effie except for they're better in some cases, and it sounds weird to say that whenever really almost all the numbers are bigger, but we'll talk a little bit about that here in a moment as we go into the builds. Let's get his digits. Look at that attack stat. That is wonderful. Good hit points. Not super great for an armored unit, but good hit points. And really everything else is pretty much just flat, which means that we have some options for him. Let's take a look at what he swings with. Casablanca, not the movie, but this particular lance is really sweet. It does what the other holiday weapons in this banner do, which is they get rid of all the hone style buffs from units that normally attack you at a range. So that's really, really cool. He comes stock with attack, rally, defense. It's a really nice assist skill, to be quite honest with you, especially in an armored team. That's a great buff to have on anybody, especially if they're just gonna stand there and take some punishment. Fire boost, good skill. He needs a little bit of help, and there's an easy way to help him out with that so that he can keep on maintaining that. And he comes with gold armor. This is like the second time that we've had somebody with gold armor, so that's pretty exciting. When we take a look at the ratings that we have up here, they're going from A to F with an S rank meaning practically perfect in that particular category or stat. We have a nice aggressor rating, a nice one-hit kill rating. We also have a great duelist rating, his ability to fight back and forth, his ability to simply just take punishment, whether it's physical damage via wall or magical damage via deflector, is okay. It's not the best. You really need to have some help on that, and we're going to go ahead and talk about that now. First of all, let's go ahead and do a budget build as we usually do first. This one, it's not going to take you to the top of arena, but if you're sick of the typical armor builds, give this a try. It's a lot of fun. The idea here is that we're going to go ahead and leverage the extra out of combat damage that poison and savage blow do to make sure that we continue to get that fire boost benefit. Fire boost is really nice if you just have the hit points for it, and this is one way to make sure that you continue to do it. Usually we don't talk about refinements or seals on budget builds, but honestly, for all the upcoming builds, if you refine his speed, you're going to enjoy it, and we'll talk more in depth about that later, but refine his speed. And also, if you give him a Savage Blow seal, I think that gives you the most bang for the buck. Making sure that you hit 14 damage for everybody who's running up to you is a little bit better than needing it on any more on initiation. You could also do something like Panic Ploy, but we're already negating the buffs of a lot of different units that might run up and engage us, and we're not going to get to attack them back, obviously, but we're not going to suffer too much at their hands. So I think Panic Ploy might be a little overkill unless you just need that on your team to support the team. Seriously, that build is super fun. But for now, let's go ahead and go into a couple other builds that I have for you that's going to really turn him into a nice little powerhouse. We're going to start off with my personal favorite first. This one really turns him into a speed demon. Now you see, he has 32 speed. That's really good for an armor unit. If you increase it by 3 by refining his weapon, he's going to go up to 35. That's still not great, but it stops him from being doubled by a lot. Really, most of the people that we care about at that point in time, really, Ninu, as a fast green mage, and some of the different red sword lords and other red sword units. Well, Swordbreaker takes care of one, and we can sort of polish off the others by building this kit the rest of this way. It really pains me to put on Fury on an armor unit like this, especially one that really likes to keep his hit points around. But it just helps him out so much in this particular regard. He really does have a plethora of possibilities at this point in time, and so Fury really keeps that alive. Also, those +3 extra speed that he's getting really does save his bacon. I like attack play on him. He has, especially with Fury, he has the resistance necessary to actually use ploys. You can put whatever ploy you want to in here. You can go ahead and put ploys in the C slot if you really want. But honestly, attack ploy is the best ploy for him as long as it is in his C slot. There's other seals out there that he will benefit from more than attack ploy. But as far as a C slot, if you could actually get that to go off, it is super helpful. It's actually better than just speed ploy, which is sort of trendy to do underneath something like this. If you haven't seen something like this before, making units, defensive units, speed demons is really a part of the new meta. A lot of the dragons are trying to do that. I've seen some videos from a couple YouTubers do that, specifically Lubu, and I've also seen some builds, actually pretty much almost a similar build like this on Reddit. It's a part of a meta that's just slowly trickling down from tier 20 on down, so this is one thing to at least be aware of could happen, that somebody who otherwise has who cares still kind of speed suddenly just exploding into something a little bit more devastating. And that rating speaks for itself. I mean, the only color holding us down is green, really? That's wonderful. So let's go ahead and go into the obituaries, taking a look at the DPT, Deltran's PvP threat list. Link down in the doobly-doo to take a look at that. If you're a long-time listener, I should let you know that pretty soon it's going to get a fairly massive overhaul. Maybe about 25% of that list is going to change. If you're new around here, the DPT is a curated list of PvP threats that I make so that we can have a nice, easy conversation about what our unit is capable of. And in this particular case, we're actually getting some really good marks. As far as initiation goes, and as far as defense go, the best part about it is how few losses we have. We are really minimizing our losses on this. This is calculated as if attack ploy is on, full disclosure. However, even given that, we are doing super well. The problems that you're going to find is that there are going to still be a few mages that are going to get around what you've got going on, specifically Reinhardt. If you want to be able to stop the Reinhardt, you need to be able to put on a good seal, like a deflect magic. You could also use distant defense. Speed +3 can help you out a little bit there too, but honestly, it's not the fact that you're not fast enough for him. You need to just have that extra stopping power. Otherwise, we have a lot of units that we can actually just go straight in and kill on initiation. That is beautiful. Some of the heavier, more defensive, more enemy phase greens are going to take us out. And on the flip side, we have a respectable amount of units that we can one-hit kill it whenever we bait. A lot that we just stand to and just sort of stare back in the face. And a couple other ones that are getting our number, especially if it's some sort of a brave weapon user. That's going to be a problem for us because we just can't withstand that kind of punishment, especially if they end up charging up a special. It's all over for us. When it comes down to it, Eliwood's stats are pretty good in a lot of cases, at least in the offensive stats. It looks like he's just a very fast Effie. So really, almost any Effie build that you find, you can go and just transplant and put it onto him. When it comes down to it, though, I don't necessarily recommend that wholesale, just because Effie does handle some of those builds a lot better. The other thing is that yes, you could go ahead and use premium fodder on Eliwood, such as the Vengeful and the Bold Fighter and stuff like that. Honestly, I would not. I felt bad recommending attack ploy, let alone anything else, because when it comes down to it, you're not going to get a lot of merges for Eliwood, and it's going to handicap where he could be. Now, if you can reliably summon some of this stuff, or if you have like a lot of extra Hectors lying around, go ahead and use your distant counter. Go ahead and use your attack ploys. I wouldn't throw away something that's really limited on him, to be quite honest with you. Not saying he can't use it, just saying that Effie will get a lot more mileage out of it because you can not choose her IVs, but get IVs and merge her, and that is sort of important. If you're like, oh, you don't merge units anyway, then honestly, Eliwood's a fantastic unit, worthwhile to invest in your time with. And actually, right now, we're going to talk about the build that Effie uses a lot that I think is very useful here, just with a small Eliwood twist on it. This is using Rider's Bane Lance. Underneath this particular build, I like it on him best because it is the alternate lance that he uses just as well, if not better, than Effie when it comes down to it using this particular build. We still have Swordbreaker as the B slot. I just can't get away from it. It is wonderful to have. I enjoy seeing it there, and it does ensure that he's doing his job as a blue unit, destroying all the red units, and that's what you need. Rider's Maiden is going to be good here. The shtick is that it's going to give you just enough offensive power. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and go into the DPT, the obituaries for this particular one, and we'll go ahead and see who we're winning matchups against. On Initiation, it's nice. I'm going to talk a lot more about defense as the rest of the scrolls by. You are not going to be able to take a heck of a lot of merges from things, but if everything is equal, you're actually able to handle powered up Reinhardt's and Cecilia's with this particular build. I think that that's a really good trade-off for things. And what you're trading away is that, you know, your losses are a little bit higher, your wins are a little bit lower, but it is also very predictable on both sides. It is very flat, but really horses just don't bother you anymore. So if you're having a problem with all of these gallopers in your life, then you can actually just go and rely on Eliwood to sort of just push them away for a little bit. It'll help you out. Just like I said, be careful as you climb the ladder. Since you're not going to be able to do merges, you're not going to be able to keep pace with things. A couple of, and I do mean a couple, I don't mean just one. You're going to need like 2 wards on top of Eliwood in order for him to catch a highly merged Cecilia. Otherwise, it's still quite viable, and it's going to work well in PvE all over the place too. So that's what I've got for you. That is the Eliwood that we have been provided. I think he's a great unit. What do you think? Have you been using him? Are you excited for him? Or is Effie still running around on your teams? Let me know down in the comments, and do me a favor, if you like your Fire Emblem information hot and fresh like Grandma's cookies, hit that subscribe button. My name is Deltran. Thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate all of you. And until next time, take it easy.